Earlier this week, Japan released its annual white paper outlining national security and defense priorities for the next year. In the paper, Japan expressed concern over China's growing military presence in the South and East China Seas, a process it said could affect regional security. The paper, and China's strong reaction to it, reflect rising tensions in a region with deep geopolitical fault lines. Chinese media strongly objected to Japan's portrayal of the People's Liberation Army as a potential threat to security in the Asia-Pacific region. This isn't the first time Japan has warned against long-term implications of China's growing military might. But this year's white paper was different in that it focused on what it calls the complex relationship between China's Communist Party and the People's Liberation Army. Japan expressed concern that the Chinese military is gaining a stronger foothold in the country's decision-making process and exerting too much influence over Beijing's foreign policy. Japanese Defense Minister Satoshi Morimoto said that many countries in Asia, not just Japan, are concerned about where China's military and maritime expansion is headed. Beijing responded by reaffirming China's peaceful rise and the Communist Party's absolute control over military decisions and policy. Rejecting Japan's claim that the military's rising power is a sign of internal political and economic instability in China, Beijing criticized Japan's paranoid Cold War mentality. Underlying the diplomatic and media squabbles are two important realities. The first is that Beijing has indeed expanded its naval capacity greatly over the last decade. In turn, we've seen a rise in the number of incidents and potential for conflict in waters claimed by China and its neighbors. This includes Vietnam and the Philippines over the Paracel and Spratly Island chains, as well as Japan over the Diaoyu Senkaku Islands. Whatever Beijing's stated goals, its aggressive moves to affirm territorial claims against those of other countries are fast reshaping political dynamics in the region. Tensions will only rise as countries ramp up undersea exploration for minerals and energy resources. The second process is more quiet, but no less important. That is Japan's own shift towards building a more independent navy with a more open international presence. Article 9 of the Japanese Constitution technically bars the country from fielding a real military, but that's hardly stopped Japan from amassing one of Asia's best navies. With other countries in the region balking at perceived Chinese aggression, Japan may seize the opportunity to promote itself as a security counterweight. It does so with an eye to both Southeast Asia and the US, which sees Japan as key to its own pivot back towards Asia-Pacific. But doing so will mean overcoming public unease at home, and a stronger Japan may not be all that welcome in a region where memories of World War II run deep. China and Japan share overlapping spheres of influence that all but guarantee tension between these two Asian powers. Add to that dynamic increased and direct competition for undersea resources in disputed waters, and Chinese and Japanese squabbling over Japan's annual white paper on defense becomes all the more understandable.